Hey guys, what's up? It's Adiamond Starks here. I hope you all are doing great. Today's video, I'm going to be answering some questions that you guys actually asked me on Instagram, mostly my followers over on Instagram, and a lot of the questions are relating to dating and marriage and all of those things. So I have them on my phone and we're going to be checking into those today. But before we get started, if you enjoy my channel, if you enjoy my videos, do me a favor, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any uploads. Also, I know a lot of you guys probably found my channel from the How I Met My Husband video, and if you haven't seen that video, it's kind of how I got started here on YouTube and really felt inspired to just reach other women and inspire them and young girls. And so I'm going to be kind of getting back to some of those videos. If you want in the comments, go ahead and let me know what type of videos you like to see here at my channel. Alright, so the first question is actually from one of my friends, and she asked, what did you guys do in preparation to getting married? The number one answer to that question would be prayer, honestly, for myself, and I believe Eric can attest to this as well. During this time, I didn't hang out with a lot of people. I was really focused on school, my homework, going to work, and just any other activities that I was doing within the church. And when I wasn't doing those things, I honestly was at home, you know, praying, of course, like social media, stuff like that. But I attribute prayer to a lot of the preparation because you are getting ready to bond your life with someone for the rest of your life. And during that time, I just feel like it's so vital to really, you know, be checking any areas of your heart that may not be ready for marriage, or just any little habits. For myself, sometimes I would just have a short fuse and I would just be like, oh my God, like, why are you doing that? You know, to my siblings or whatever. And I realized that those type of behaviors and, you know, things were not going to fly in marriage. They weren't going to allow for me to have the healthiest marriage that I could possibly. I read a lot of books. I stayed away from a lot of television, just shows that I knew were not going to be beneficial to my life in any way. And that's still kind of one of the rules, that just kind of a rule for myself, that, you know, I'm not going to indulge in a show. I don't really binge. You know, I'll catch like a Grey's Anatomy like here or there. But yes, number one, pray, stay busy. You know, just doing things that are going to prepare you for that time. Read books, listen to podcasts, and enjoy the rest of your singleness. Alright, the next question. Advice for someone who is in a similar waiting period you were in before you two started dating. So this was very similar to the question before, but if you guys did not know, when I first encountered Eric, God literally told me right then in that moment that he was going to be my husband. And from there, I kind of went on this whirlwind, this journey. But my number one advice, I believe I mentioned this in my first video, was to journal, because what you don't want to do is go and run and tell your mama and all them. You could tell your mom, I tell my mom, but you don't want to tell a lot of different people, because one, that is a lot more, just all these different voices you're gonna have going on in your head. You need to be like really focused, and you need to be focused on hearing the voice of God, especially in a season like this. Because okay, what do you do when God tells you like this person is your husband? One, you need to make sure that this is God, because if not, you're gonna have yourself in a very nasty, you know, situation if it isn't. So you want to seek confirmation, you want to seek wise counsel from people that you trust, maybe from some older ladies, whether that, you know, be in your family or you know, in the church, with people that you can trust, people who are not going to envy you. Because let me tell you, there are going to be some girls who are not going to be happy to hear that God told you so and so was going to be your husband, and maybe they've been waiting on their man, or maybe they was looking at your man. You don't want to run and tell that. Just don't go tell everybody. Stay busy, you know, focus on yourself, take care of yourself. You know, start just thinking of ways that you can pray for your man, pray for this person who is supposed to be your spouse. Obviously you guys aren't married yet, so God is still in the process of preparing you both. So my advice there is definitely stay prayed up, stay busy, don't allow yourself to get idle. keep yourself out of drama. Don't go posting nothing. Don't post no pictures. Don't do none of that. You know, keep this between you and God, and write down your emotions, your feelings, everything, because once again, you can't go and tell everybody. And so you really want to have a safe place where you can go, okay, like, this is what I'm feeling. This made me think this today, you know, XYZ. And yeah, you'll be okay. Just stay prayed up and you'll be okay.
Yeah, I'll just let you know I'm doing my stretches now, and then I'll be ready if you wanted to do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you working on a different one right now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll just, what time are you gonna be done?
10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be done with this one, and you can help me with another one.
Okay.
Okay. All right, the next question is your biggest lesson you've learned since being married. Oh man, I feel like you come into marriage with a lot of expectations of yourself and your spouse, because there's a lot of dreaming that happens, you know, when you're dating and when you're engaged, and all of those things are beautiful. I know, like, for myself, like, for example, when, you know, Eric and I made a list of who is going to do the chores, who is going to sweep the floor, and who is going to clean the bathroom, who's going to do the dishes. And in seasons, there will be times when you will have more time than your spouse, and your spouse may have more time than you. And although that's like a little bitty thing, oh, you were supposed to do the dishes every night, because that's like those type of expectations, like, just be able to go with the flow, be able to give your spouse grace, because you want that grace returned back to you. And as far as expectations, like, on yourself, you're growing. Like, you're growing in marriage. You're growing together. You're still learning yourself. Like, you know, this is a whole different arena. This is something that you've never experienced before. And so for you to have all these expectations of, like, oh my gosh, like, I used to be able to da-da-da-da-da, but now I can't do this anymore. Or maybe you used to have a lot of time to exercise, and that was how you relieve stress, and maybe you don't have as much time to exercise anymore, and that causes you to be, you know, a little bit more stressed, and you are changing as an individual as a result of being married. I would say give yourself grace, give yourself time, and make sure, just communicate those differences and those things with your spouse. Just because maybe I slacked up on doing the dishes for 2 weeks, does that mean Eric just doesn't say anything? No, he may say, okay, like, I know this was, you know, our agreement, and I'm down for change, but hey, maybe since it doesn't work out for you to do dishes, well, could you do this? Communication is so key. It's one of the reasons why, top 3 reasons why marriages fail, along with finances and some other thing, I think infidelity or something. But make sure that you are communicating, and just give yourself and your spouse a lot of grace. All right, someone wants to know what my love language is, or what our love languages are. Guys, doing the 5 love languages was actually the majority of Eric and I's marriage counseling. I was like, crap, what's it called? Marriage counseling. I do not recommend anyone get married without marriage counseling. Not because you need a seal of approval from anyone, but I do believe that we have been gifted earthly authorities, and in any type of way, whether that's in a church setting or, you know, any other type of facility, make sure that you and your spouse go through some type of program that is just ensuring that you guys are ready for this season of life. Better to know beforehand than not saying that, oh, you can't get married if you I just really recommend marriage counseling. But back to the 5 love languages. The 5 love languages is a book by Gary Chapman. There's also a quiz online. I can link it down below for you guys. But it is basically a book about the way in which you best receive love and the way that you best give love. For myself, I like to receive love through words of affirmation, and then physical touch, and then gifts were like 6 and 6, and then I think 7 was words of affirmation. So for myself, the way that I best receive love is through acts of service. So if Eric is always trying to affirm me by his words, I may not receive love that way, and I don't receive love that way. I receive love by, hey, can I help you out with the groceries, or him going ahead and doing the dishes, or whatever it is that I don't have to ask him to be done, and he just does it. Anything that he sees an area where I need help and he helps me, but we gonna have a good day. We gonna be good. And then for Eric, his love language, his number one is actually quality time. So it doesn't really benefit Eric if I'm always just helping him out with things, even though he likes that. He much rather me sit down and watch TV with him than for me to clean up. Once again, mine is acts of service, and I feel like I best give love through physical touch. I'm a very affectionate person. My parents are very affectionate towards me, and I feel like that's just the way that I administer love the best. The next question asks, how do you resolve conflict in marriage? Well, I can honestly say that Eric and I have not faced very many huge issues concerning like like our marriage, but when we do, me and I would definitely say it's important to make sure that you are both in a space and in a mindset where you can hear the other partner out, where you're not just listening to respond, but you're listening. You're not just hearing, but you're actually listening to what the person is saying. And I know that, people will say, sometimes you do have those conversations that end with agreeing to disagree. And I think a lot of people get freaked out there because they still want to prove their point and still want to prove where they are right. As it relates to really big issues, maybe say concerning finances or concerning, I don't know, any type of really big financial decisions, if I cannot come to resolve on those type things, if Eric and I can't seem to come to an agreement, ultimately those things are left up to him, because it really concerns a matter that pertains to the household. He is the head of our household, so therefore I'm not going to fuss and fight about something that ultimately the Bible has given him the authority to handle. And as a result, all I can do is lovingly accept that, and then I know that as a result God is going to honor me, and he's still going to find a way to give me the desires of my heart or make me feel better about the situation. And let me just say, I feel like a lot of the arguments that Eric and I have had kind of came from, honestly, they probably started with me, and they were a result of me wanting to change him or like make him better, or me see him, just get in the habit of doing things differently, so that ultimately I wanted him to be better. But the saying goes, can't change a man, you can. And along with that, you shouldn't want to, because it's so much more beautiful when the Holy Spirit begins to do a work on that individual, and you just kind of throw your hands up and you're like, okay, God, like I watched you do your thing with that, like, because I prayed on it, and I didn't fuss, and I didn't fight, and I didn't point my finger and shake my head and roll my neck and do other things, but God, you still shut up. For example, Eric does not like to eat fruit and vegetables. I know, but it is a thorn in my flesh, because I love fruits and vegetables, and because I want to be healthy. And so for me, I was always like, Eric, you need to eat fruits and vegetables, this is why you're that, and it was just so freaking annoying to him. And after a while, I'm like, dang, that was so annoying. And guess what? Now he is slowly but surely beginning to incorporate foods, whether it be substitutes that have some type of vegetable. And I know that seems huge, but don't try to change the individual, man. Take those things to God, keep a journal, write it down, and then you're able to go back and be like, God, you really showed up, it's your thing, boom, all good. All right, just a couple more questions. The next one is, how important is faith when it comes to marriage? Faith is everything in a marriage. Ultimately, your faith has to be in God in order for you to even be able to have a healthy marriage. And when I say healthy, I mean a marriage that is based on biblical principles. And in marriage, you have to have faith in one another. You have to trust the person that you're with, because every day is not going to be beautiful. Every day is not going to be sunshine and unicorns and all the things and ice creams and wow, I just got hungry. But every day is not going to be beautiful, and you have to have faith that things are going to get better, because you're going to face rough times. Like, we're just coming out of a freaking pandemic, and some things in our life have shifted around. But you know what? I had to go, okay, God, I have faith that this is going to get better. And you know, that goes for, you know, just faith in yourself, faith in, you know, also the person that you're with. You have to have faith that maybe you're facing something really difficult, or maybe you've just gotten yourself in a really sticky situation that you should have been in, and now you have to say, okay, God, I have to depend on you to help me get out of this, because your word says what God puts together no man can tear apart. And I believe that you've brought us together for this time and this purpose, and we are going to stand on the purpose, on the covenant of marriage. And you have to fight your way through. I don't believe that marriage is hard. I don't believe that. The Bible never said that marriage is hard. I do believe that great things though take hard work. And if you want your marriage to be great, you're gonna have to put in the work to really just have a happy life, because no one wants to have a marriage that is not happy. All right, this is a really good one. Also, how do you balance spending time with God as a couple and separately? So I feel like this is one of those things that Eric and I, in seasons, we're still figuring out. As you guys know, at one point we lived in a space where there was only one space. It was a studio apartment, and it was really hard for us to have alone time with God. And so for Eric, what he would end up doing, it's a lot harder for him to have that time being around me than it is for me. I can be around him, I don't care. But for him, he had to learn, okay, well, this is the space we have. We're both home. This is our designated, our designated time that we want to pray before bed, whatever. And he just learned, okay, I have to go outside and take walks and talk to God. And for him, I can honestly say, like, I think it really messed with him for a while, because he was so used to going into a bedroom, turning the lights down, blasting some music, and that's how he was taught to pray. It's a great way to pray. I highly recommend it. But he almost felt like, I don't know if he felt like he was cheating God because of the way that he was having to learn how to pray. But God does not care. He's not legalistic. He just wants you in his presence. However, whether that's in your car on the way to work, maybe that is the only time you get. Maybe you have kids, and on the way and back from work is the only time you have to spend time with God. Spend that time. But at nighttime, we definitely always pray together. We worship at church together. Any type of setting where we have the opportunity to worship together, we do that. And it is really important that you do have that time. I remember our pastor who counseled us, he told us one of the best things that you can do is pray for your spouse daily, pray over them. And that's something that, we do as well. And so it does take finding that balance, but it comes, and in every season it's not going to look alike. So once again, just give yourself grace, give you and your spouse both the time to figure out what works for you individually and collectively. All right, and the last question is asking, I guess, how to do long distance relationships. Let's see. So my advice would be to really embrace that season, because if you're just super anxious to always be with that person, which I know like you will be, but really embrace that time and see it as God just preparing you guys. And honestly, like, although Eric and I were not long distance, we definitely we couldn't be around each other every day all the time. And there actually was a season where we were not allowed to hang out for a couple of months. Don't ask me about it, don't want to talk about it. But during that time, I looked at it as, God, you are really testing my patience right now, and you're also preparing me. And I know that this is going to be so special, because these are the last 2 months, or think about it like this: for the next 4 months, for the next year, this is the only year that you're going to have to work on yourself. I cannot tell you how important that is. I attribute my healthy marriage to making sure that Adiamond was straight and praying for that individual. Obviously there's FaceTime. There's so many different things that, you know, nowadays we have where we can, you know, talk with one another and things like that. So that makes it a little bit easier. But you know, even amidst that, hey, pray with one another, you know, over the phone. Maybe you guys can do a Bible plan together. But I would definitely say one rule that Eric and I put into place, or Eric, kind of one of his golden rules, is you do not talk on the phone past 12. And the reason for that is because his reason for that rule was because nothing good happens past 12. And honestly, past after 12 o'clock, what y'all gotta be talking about? You know what I'm saying? So just make sure that you're keeping your heart and your mind pure, because even during that season, like I said, God's preparing you for something so beautiful. And hey, once that time comes, if God has marriage in the future, it's going to be so beautiful. So trust the process, trust that he has your best interest at hand, know that he knows what he's doing with the time and with the distance, and just keep all of that, like, you know, just keep like, okay, this is working out, this is working for my good, and all the things. Alright guys, well that concludes today's video. I hope you've enjoyed. If you were able to watch all the way through, go ahead and do me a favor and drop me some pink hearts down in the comments below, because pink is my favorite color. I'm a girly girl. Let me know how much you guys enjoyed this video and what other videos you'd like to see in the future, and thank you for watching.